Welcome to the Power of Food podcast. We are so excited to bring you evidence-based nutrition information focusing on addressing the root cause for imbalance. Food has the power to help you achieve lifelong optimal health without the side effects of prescription medication. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. I am Stacy Seslowski, functional nutrition registered dietitian.
And I am Leah Grace Barrick, functional nutritionist.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Power of Food podcast. Stacy and I are back after a little break from the holidays, and we're starting fresh in 2021 with lots of awesome topics for you guys. And we wanted to do our first topic on 21 health tips for 2021 from Stacy and I. So we're going to go through a list of 21 different ideas for you. Hopefully some of them jive with you and you want to implement them into your own life for this year, make some health goals for yourself, and maybe get a little bit healthier. But before that, we're going to start with our weekly share. So I'm going to let Stacy take that away.
Thanks, Leah. Nice to be back. So my share for this week is the first time I have ever found a non-dairy cheese alternative. So many people cannot tolerate dairy, and I have been searching and wanting to give people these recommendations for an alternative for so long. And there's this company called Miso. So that's spelled M as in Mary, I-Y-O-K-O. So almost like Mykonos, but Miso. And they have sliced cheeses, shredded cheeses, and spreads, and even like little like blocks of cheese. They're all non-dairy. They're all made, I think, from cashews. And I am shocked every single time I taste one of these how much it tastes like cheese. And they even like melt, sometimes very similar to the way cheese does. So we've been in heaven because cheese has been one thing that we love and we've had to eliminate. And now we've been able to add something really close to it back. Have you tried that?
I actually have. I was going to say I just recently they were on sale at the store, and I got one of their soft cheeses, the chive one.
Yeah.
And like you said, I was so pleasantly surprised with the taste and the textures there. Some alternative cheeses are like so bad if anyone has ever tried them and they were really turned off. Highly recommend trying them again. Again, like you were saying, they're made with cashews, really clean ingredients. They don't have any bad stuff in there. So yeah, definitely a really great alternative.
Yeah, we've even been able to make something just like mac and cheese using like the jovial, gluten-free pasta with the cheddar cheese from Miso and like a little bit of ghee, and it tastes so creamy and exactly like mac and cheese. So
yum. That sounds amazing. I might have to get that recipe from you.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. My share is actually an ingredient that I've been using more lately, which is miso. And so miso is made from soybeans. It's a fermented soy. I know not everyone tolerates soy, but I will say if you do, fermented and organic is always the way to go because it's a little bit more digestible. And I've used miso a little bit, here and there, but recently I've just been loving it. And actually for New Year's, we made this miso dressing that we put on some fish, and it was so delicious. And then just last night I made some miso rice, which I would never think to make, but it was absolutely delicious. So I've just been really loving miso lately. I have a huge tub in my fridge. It's a fermented food, so it's really great for the gut microbiome. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that
Do
is.
you ever use miso?
I
Or do you guys not do soy?
I have not. Where do you buy your organics miso from?
Yeah, I just get it at Whole Foods.
Okay, great. I'm definitely going to try that.
You should totally try it. It has this awesome umami, like salty taste, really unique and just so delicious. I love it.
Good to know. That's a great tip. Thanks for that.
Yeah, of course. So we have a lot of tips here. So we're going to just jump right in, spend just a little bit of time on each of these so we can really get through them. And I'll just go off and start and say number one health tip for 2021 is to focus on sleep hygiene. So, Stacey and I talk about this all the time, but sleep is so important for overall health for pretty much everything. Usually, I tell people, if you can, 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night is fabulous. Focus on sleep hygiene, keep your room cool at night, make sure it's pitch black, make sure your bed is comfortable, turn off electronics about an hour before bed, really get into a sleep routine. Also, going to bed the same time every night, waking up the same time every morning will also help get your body in a rhythm. So, number one, focus on sleep hygiene is my tip number one for our 21 health tips for 2021.
Love that. And I swear if you were to pick one out of this whole list, that might be the one.
Totally.
And while you're sleeping, you're clearing the inflammation that your body has developed throughout the day. So imagine if you're only getting 5, even 6 hours every single night, that 1 hour of missed clearance, accumulates over a lifetime, and inflammation over a lifetime is what leads to all the chronic conditions that we are seeing. So love that. And yeah, we can definitely help people with even more specific tips on how to improve sleep if they're interested. So please message us or post on this video and let us know if you're struggling with that. My first one not that it's the most important, but just there's no specific order. I was going to say, let's try to separate meals by at least, I would say, 3.5 to 4 hours in between every single meal, and then have at least 10 to 12 hours over the night where there's no eating. So our bodies do really well when we give it enough time to completely digest everything that we ate at the last meal and not eat new food or snack until that, your body is completely cleared of the first meal. So not snacking 4 hours between meals, and then about 10 to 12 hours over the night. So it's really opposite of what we used to hear. It's like eat small meals throughout the whole day and sort of never stop eating. And this is kind of the newer research is what we're learning is that our bodies do need more of a break.
Totally. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, especially, the overnight one as well also plays into the sleep hygiene because if you're eating late, it can actually also interfere with your sleep. So try to eat dinner a little bit earlier, maybe push your breakfast a little bit later if you're trying to get that 10 to 12-hour fast. And usually, in wintertime, I say it's even a little easier to eat an early dinner just because it gets dark so early. It feels so much later. So maybe a little bit harder to do in the summer, but definitely some great tips. So my next one is pretty basic, but eat more fruits and vegetables. All of us could use more fruits and vegetables in our lives. They have fiber, which is so helpful for, decreasing inflammation, gut health. They have phytochemicals. Pretty much anytime that you can add in more fruits and vegetables, the better. So I just had to put that on my list.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. And I think, the interesting thing with that one is we all know that, right? We've heard it so many times, eat more fruits and vegetables. But I think the important thing there, and probably for many of our recommendations, is intentionally plan in advance. How am I actually going to implement this starting tomorrow? Am I going to spend time at the supermarket today, choosing more fruits and vegetables so that they're at home? Am I going to meal prep so that they're prepared in advance? And then during the week, you don't have to think about, how I'm going to get these to grab and go. But the implementation piece for eating more fruits and vegetables is, I think, the important aspect of actually making that happen. So my next one is drinking green tea. So green tea is really powerful antioxidant. It can reduce inflammation, even prevent cognitive decline throughout a lifetime. And I have a brand that I especially like. It's called Traditional medicinals. I don't know if you've ever tried that, Leah. Have
Yes,
you?
I love their tea.
Their green matcha tea, I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, traditional medicinals, if you're looking for a green tea that you might enjoy, that's the one I like.
Awesome. Yeah, matcha too. I would add that, which is basically, if you don't know what that is, it's just green tea leaves that are ground down. So it's even more concentrated. And like Stacey said, green tea is so beneficial. It even affects our epigenetics, which is essentially how your genes play out. So if they're expressed, if they're not expressed. So really, really powerful stuff there. So I'm glad you brought that up, Stacey. My next one is to drink more water. So I usually tell my clients aim for a minimum of half of your body weight in ounces per day. So let's say you weigh 150 pounds, that would be 75 ounces of water. A way to keep track of that, if you're not really sure how much you're drinking, is to just have a water bottle and for one day, just drink all of your water out of it. Measure how big the water bottle is, then you can kind of get a baseline of how much you're drinking and go from there. And water helps with everything, especially if you're dealing with, some mental fatigue, headaches. If you're thirsty, you're probably already dehydrated. So you probably need to drink some more water throughout the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that actually could even help, like, suppress your appetite. Sometimes we are, thinking that we're starving and we're, needing food and a snack and a next meal. And if we're aiming to get through those 4 hours in between each meal, sometimes it just takes better hydration. Sometimes, and this is not for everyone, but sometimes people even need a little bit of electrolyte in there too, like a little bit of sodium or potassium to help themselves absorb the water. So if you're finding that you're drinking tons of water and you remain thirsty, then it might help to add a little bit of electrolyte to the water as well. My next one is, I like this one. So people are always asking me, what are good sweeteners, if we're trying to avoid sugar because sugar triggers insulin and leads to types of inflammation and things like that. So healthy sweeteners are whole unprocessed ingredients, which are always so important. So if you think about honey, maple syrup, stevia extract, and dates. Those are all sweeteners that when you buy them in the store, they look the way they looked in nature. So they are whole, unprocessed, and they actually don't trigger the insulin response exactly the same way that table sugar would. So those are really great replacements. Honey, maple syrup, dates. Oh, and molasses is another one, and stevia extract.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, I get that question a lot. And, I also love when the ingredients we're using, they're not only neutral, but they also have some minerals and some vitamins, and some of these do. So, you're also adding to the nutritional value, even though you're adding some sweetness. I would also add to this list, even just fruit, like think about sweetening things with fruit. So if you're having oatmeal and you want it a little bit sweeter, adding some berries even, and kind of seeing if that's sweet enough for you, retraining your taste buds a little bit. I will say I am not a fan of stevia. I can't do the taste. I know some people love it. They don't mind it. I've tried so many times and I can't deal with the aftertaste. But I have found that monk fruit extract, which some people use similarly, that is a little bit more mild. I can deal with it a little bit more. So if you're someone who doesn't like stevia and you want to try monk fruit extract, I would say go for it.
You would hate my coffee and everything I make. Too much stevia extract in it. My husband can't even go near it.
All right, my next one is to take a short mini walk or to take exercise breaks throughout the day. So a lot of us are sitting in front of our computers all day, not moving and, glued to the desk. And I would say if you can get up, get your lymphatic system moving, get your body moving, get your heart rate up a little bit, that will help you stay focused throughout the day. It'll help you lower your blood sugar. It'll help with so many things. And so, if you can break up those those routines, go outside, get some vitamin D. That's going to really help your mental health, your physical health, all of that. So try to take some breaks throughout the day. I know it's hard when you're busy and you feel like you don't even have a second, but even if you just stand up, do 10 jumping jacks and sit down again, that will make a difference. So whatever it is, big or small, try to incorporate that.
Yeah, that's such great advice, because people think, that they have to do this like 45-minute high intensity workout every day to, get benefits of exercise. And it doesn't, that I would so much prefer and recommend to people that do something that you're going to continue to do for the long term. If you're trying to fit in this high intensity workout that is hard and stressful and hurts your body, then you're probably not going to last with it for long term. And you're so much better off just choosing these mini walks, like you're saying, or, short bouts of movement throughout the day that you can continue for a lifetime. And you're right, just like that makes all the difference in the world, rather than being sedentary throughout the day. Okay, so my next habit is to add a new seed to your diet. So by that, I mean flax or chia or sunflower or pumpkin or sesame, and the list goes on. But these seeds have the precursors that your body uses to create omega-3 fatty acids in your body, which are so anti-inflammatory and healthy for your brain. These seeds also improve your hormone balance. They are high in fiber and they help your digestion. There's so many benefits to eating seeds, and I think they're oftentimes an overlooked or lacking in our diets. So see if you can't incorporate one of these seeds in your diet, a new food and a new healthy way.
That's such a good point. And I feel like oftentimes, nuts and seeds get lumped together and people incorporate nuts, but they kind of forget about the seeds. And seeds are so nutritious and can actually be easier to digest than nuts sometimes for some people. And I love that you mentioned, the hormone balancing. I do recommend seed cycling to some of my clients who have hormonal imbalances. So it's a really natural food first way to help with that. So I love that one. That's really great. My next one I love because it's not talked about a lot, but it's to focus on your posture. So this is a huge one, again, because we're often at desks sitting all day, and especially when you're home in front of like a Zoom call meeting, you're not, at work with other people in office chairs. So it can totally turn into slouching and just laying on the couch, that kind of thing. But really our posture is so important, and it can affect our breathing. So if you have poor posture, it can actually kind of push down on your diaphragm and not allow you to take deep breaths, which, as we talk about a lot on the podcast, is really important for getting that rest and digest state going. And secondly, it really impacts our digestion. So if you think about it, like if you're slumped over, go ahead right now. If you're sitting, you can slump over and just see how it really constricts your GI system. So your stomach, your intestines, and it doesn't give you space. So if you sit up tall, you can feel there's so much more space. It's more relaxed. So just something people don't really think about is posture. And one thing I really like to do is to put a cushion or a pillow or like some rolled up clothes under my low back, so on my lumbar. And that kind of just helps you tilt forward a little bit, get a little bit better posture. There's also something that a friend of mine just got, which is a new technology I'd never heard of. Basically, it's like this necklace that goes around your neck, and on the back it has a sensor, and it basically tells you, it zaps you a little bit. It doesn't zap, it like vibrates when you start to slouch. So it can sense you're slouching, it connects to your phone, and then it kind of reminds you, and you can like sit back up again. So if that's something that interests you, if you're someone that kind of forgets or doesn't realize when you're slouching, it might be worth looking into that.
Wow, I am so guilty of that.
I saw you sitting up a little bit when we were
Oh my gosh, I'm
talking.
so guilty of that. And I have to constantly remind myself I'm never good at it. So that device you talked about might actually really help me. But my husband is constantly walking over to me and pushing my back, and I get
Ugh.
annoyed at him, but it's true. I know he's right. So it's a really good one. My next one, I'm actually going to expand it a little bit because I was talking about using cast iron and stainless steel pans and pots and other cooking vessels in the kitchen. Those are the two of my go-tos, cast iron and stainless steel, because those are the types that your food is not going to leach unhealthy heavy metals like aluminum or mercury or things like that from the pots. So I love those options for cooking. But I also, just to expand it, I mean, by the same token, because we didn't fit this into our list, is using glass instead of plastic and avoiding using plastic as much as possible. When we look at people that have hormonal imbalances or cognitive decline or, any of these symptoms of these chronic illnesses, oftentimes they have more plastic or heavy metals in their blood than people who don't have those types of chronic illnesses. So wherever you can cut back on having food that, has these heavy metals or plastics in them, the better. So they're really coming out with all kinds of alternatives nowadays for plastic, and using cast iron and stainless steel go along with that.
Yeah, that's a huge one. And I find that a lot of people still are really, really not aware of that. And so the more that we can talk about it, the better for sure. I also wanted to add, if you have like a sheet pan and it's made of aluminum, you don't necessarily have to throw it out. What you can do is get non-bleached parchment paper and put it down so that it's not directly touching your food. So that's what I'll usually do with that. And the other thing I wanted to add was, instead of plastic sandwich bags, I use something called stasher bags, which
Yeah,
are made of silicone. Do you use them?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're reusable, so it's better for the environment. You can put them in the dishwasher. They come in all different sizes.
Mhm.
Highly, highly recommend making the investment in those. I've had mine for years. I don't even know how long.
Cool.
But again, you don't get the plastic, and so definitely recommend that as well.
Yeah. And the same thing with like spatulas and other like cooking utensils. I have silicone for those instead of plastic and other compounds. So yeah,
Yeah,
really good
that's a
one.
great point. So, my next health tip for 2021 is to take more deep breaths. So, kind of mentioned this with the last one, but we really want to activate the rest and digest nervous system so that our body can rest. We can actually digest, calm our nervous system, not be in a chronic fight or flight, stressed out state. And so, even if it's the kind of thing where, before every meal, you take 3 deep breaths, or when you wake up in the morning, you take 5 deep breaths, before you go to bed, you take 5 deep breaths. Find what works for you. Again, this works with the whole posture thing. So, if you have better posture, you're more likely to take deep breaths throughout the day. But really focusing on the quality of your breathing, you might find that will make a big difference for you.
Yeah, I actually recommend this to many of my clients who are experiencing indigestion after they eat, or feeling of bloating, or like the food is just not going down and getting digested. Because if you can stimulate, like you said, the vagus nerve for resting and digesting, that will help food move in the downward direction rather than like sort of sitting stagnant in your gut. So I say, like, 'cause a lot of people are just so stuck in that, like, eating while they're working or while they're driving or on the go. And it's really important to like go and take some deep breaths and calm yourself down and eat mindfully in order to have a healthy digestion. So sometimes it's as easy as that. People are like, oh my God, I'm always bloated. And really, it's just because they need to like take a breath before they eat.
Totally. It also helps if you're someone who eats really quickly, it can help just,
Yeah,
slow down,
yeah.
which, chewing more, all of that. So, yeah, great point.
Yeah, I think there was something to that whole idea of praying before you eat, because it forces you to say, okay, I'm only going to focus on my food and I'm going to be grateful for what I'm eating and sort of try to separate the rest of my life from, this eating moment. Um, okay. Oh, so going along the same lines as replacements for sugar, we can talk also about healthy fats. So I think the big one here is to avoid any fat that is high in omega-6 fatty acids, so all the seed oils, and instead choose the fats that are higher in omega-3 fatty acids. And so the cooking oils that I use are avocado oil, coconut oil, ghee, and olive oil is a good one if you're using low temperature, because olive oil burns at high temperature. So use olive oil for salad dressings or really low temperature cooking. But otherwise, avocado, coconut, and ghee are my go-to fats to use for cooking.
Yeah, such a great point again. And it's also important to keep in mind if you eat out a lot or you're buying meals out, 99.9% of the time they're using these inflammatory oils. So unless the restaurant is really transparent or, wherever you're getting your food from actually says that they're making an effort to use these oils that Stacey's talking about, you can definitely bet that there's inflammatory oils in there. So not to say like if you have a little bit, it's going to kill you, but just to make sure, the majority of your diet, if you're cooking at home, using these healthy oils to make sure you're getting enough of them and not too much of the inflammatory oils.
Yep.
So my next one is to create a morning routine. So this is really important to kind of start the day off right. And it's going to look different for everyone. So whether you like to wake up and do some yoga or wake up and journal or wake up and meditate, find what works for you, but creating an intention, kind of checking in with yourself once you wake up rather than just like rolling out of bed, going to work, starting with your hectic day, you might find that it helps you maintain balance, have a better headspace throughout the day. So create a morning routine might be something that you want to start doing in 2021.
Yeah, this is a good one. And this is hard, I think. I am not a morning person. So I would probably benefit from a little bit more of a structured or plan of a routine, other than just sort of grabbing your phone and like
Yeah.
immediately opening up social media or your emails and figuring out and already getting stressed about your to-do list for the day. So maybe something right before you do that would help. I totally agree. And then that goes right into my next one, which is set an intention each day. And before bed, this is another part of it that I like. So not only setting an intention for each day when you wake up in the morning, but also before you go to bed at night, think of the things that you are grateful for. So I find that in the night is when your mind gets really stressed about the things that went wrong during the day, possibly, or the things that you have coming up that you're worried about. And for me, I know I struggle with clearing my head and really, being able to fall asleep because my mind is running and running. And it really helps when I tell myself, well, what really good thing happened today? And what am I really grateful for in my life? And when I think about those things, I am better able to clear my mind and fall asleep. So I think that's a really important one.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And, there's even research studies for those of you who are skeptical that show that having a gratitude practice actually does improve quality of life and health. And so, just try it. If you're not someone who's ever done it, just dip your toe in the water, see how you feel, think about what you're grateful for. But I think that's a great one, Stacey. My next one is to try a new plant-based food, either from the grocery store or the farmer's market or your local co-op. every week. So this is something I tell my clients a lot because we talk about the gut microbiome a lot and we talk about diversity and how important the diversity of our diet is, because those microbes feed off of the fiber or plant-based foods that we eat. So if we're eating the same thing over and over again, you can pretty much bet there's going to be a lack of diversity in our gut microbiome. So try a new fruit, vegetable, whole grain, nut, seed, legume, whatever you want it to be, maybe something you've never even eaten before, and see what you want to try, what looks good, maybe what's in season, and just know that you're helping your gut microbiome by doing that.
Yeah, I always tell people eat the rainbow. So make sure you're getting all the different colors. If you had a lot of red and purple foods, then maybe you need some yellow and green foods, because every color represents a different vitamin or mineral that your body needs. And if you're experiencing a symptom like fatigue or headache or something that you can't describe, it could literally be because your body is missing a specific nutrient because you've been eating the exact same things for way too long. So if you're starting to experience those symptoms, try a new food and see if that can't help that symptom go away. My next one is obtain more sun exposure. So I know this could be hard in certain months of the year where it's cold outside, but we all need our vitamin D. I know that's something that we've all been focused or hearing a lot about since COVID, but vitamin D is necessary for our immune function. It is also important for our hormonal balance, and the best way to get vitamin D is through the sun. So although we're taking supplements sometimes or trying to get it from food, really sun exposure is the best way. And the other thing is, even trying to get that first thing in the morning will really help your cortisol rise, which it's supposed to rise in the morning and then slowly decline over the day. So it'll set our circadian rhythm, and it'll just get you ready for a good day. So more sun exposure is important.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know, Stacy's in sunny Florida right now, and I am in cold Portland, Oregon with no sun. So it's a little bit easier for Stacy, but like she said, also, the morning sunlight, even if it's not really sunny out, even if you just go outside for a walk first thing in the morning, still getting your eyes outside, even if it's cloudy, will still help reset that circadian rhythm, which again goes into the sleep hygiene that we were talking about earlier and will actually help with your sleep quality, getting on a healthy rhythm, and that kind of thing, especially when we're all on blue light so much throughout the day from our laptops and our cell phones and that kind of thing. So my next one is to commit to moving your body every day. So again, this is going to look different for everyone, whether you like doing HIIT or yoga or Pilates or going for a walk, weight training, find what brings you joy, what you enjoy doing, swimming, tennis, anything really. Just move your body every day. We're meant to be moving beings. And so find something that you want to do. Maybe you pick up a new activity in 2021 that you haven't tried before, but really commit to moving your body every day.
My next one, we kind of already covered. And so I actually have a brand new one. So you're not even going to see it, Leah, that I'm going to sneak in here because I was thinking about it even after I made this list and thinking, how could we fit this in? So it's a perfect spot for me to say, put your phone in airplane mode whenever possible. We are becoming so addicted to our devices. And there was actually a recent study that came out and unfortunately showed that women who spend much more time with their cell phones have a higher risk for breast cancer than women who don't. So the electromagnetic radiation that we are exposed to from our devices, and when it's that constant, we honestly don't even know the long-term impacts because this is a brand new technology and thing that is been added to our culture. So I would say just try to give yourself hours during the day where you just put your phone down. Not only will it be healthy for us physically, but even mentally, to just be able to feel detached from that constant, trigger of our brain.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And that study, I'm so sadly not surprised, but it's hard, and we're surrounded by EMFs literally everywhere. Like your microwave, your laptop, your cell phone, things you don't even think about, like those heating pads, if you know what I'm talking about, that you plug in.
Yeah.
Sometimes women use them for like cramps, or you can use them for your back or your neck. They're like one of the highest sources of EMF. So it's really, really hard to avoid them completely. So definitely, if you can, put your phone on airplane mode, especially overnight, like number one, because that's, 8 to 10 hours of you right next to your phone getting that radiation that you really don't need, because you're not using your cell phone in the middle of the night, hopefully.
Right.
So I'm so glad you brought that one up. That's a big one for sure.
Let me also sneak in that antioxidants protect us from those rays and that radiation. So antioxidants, like we talked about before, from green tea or from all your fruits and vegetables that you mentioned, from melatonin, which is something our body releases naturally throughout the night. All of those antioxidants protect us or help reduce the damage that the electromagnetic rays give us. So there are ways to combat this, in addition to keeping your phone far away from you as much as possible.
Yes, definitely. Okay, we're nearing the end, guys. My next one was try one new healthy recipe every month. So this kind of goes along with the new food, but again, it's easy to just use the same recipes that we always use. But I really encourage you to get creative in the kitchen, have some fun, maybe teach a cooking class, or maybe take a cooking class. I've been teaching cooking classes, and the number one thing I hear is that people get bored because they're cooking the same thing over and over again. So, switch it up, try a new recipe, take a cooking class, do whatever you need to do to inspire you, especially, we're still in the middle of the pandemic and restaurants are closed in a lot of places, or only doing takeout, that kind of thing. So a lot of people are cooking more at home, which is great. But definitely trying new recipes is a good one for 2021.
I love that. And I will give both of us a plug here, because I know we both have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram pages with tons of recipes. I do have to say, Leah makes the best pictures of her food. Every single thing you see on her Instagram page, you just want to eat immediately. So check out all of our social media and YouTube platforms for videos and recipes. There's so much there to see. This is my last one, and my last one is, so giving acts of kindness to others will always make us feel happier and healthier. Not only showing acts of kindness to others, but including yourself. So looking in the mirror and giving yourself a compliment and giving yourself grace and self-compassion. I think we are all so hard on ourselves. This is such an important one. I know I'm guilty of it. I'm constantly criticizing myself and, maybe not always giving kindness to others as much as I should. And at the end of the day, this is what our body relies on to make a hormone called oxytocin, which is our happy, healthy hormone that keeps us healthy for long term. So giving and receiving and, giving it to yourself as well, acts of kindness and compassion, I think is huge.
I love that one, Stacey. That's so good. Definitely room for more kindness in the world, in our relationships with others, and our relationship with ourselves. So really, really great to focus on that. Okay, we're on to the last one. So my last one is eating without distractions, slowing down, and chewing more. So we kind of already touched on all of these, but again, getting into that rest and digest state, chewing more will help with your entire gastrointestinal tract, your whole GI health. So just eating without distractions, try not to eat in front of your work computer, try not to eat in front of the television. Just focusing on that will definitely help with your digestion and your health and your mental health and taking a break from work. A lot of us are very, very overstimulated, I found. And so just unplugging for a little bit for mealtime can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it may even decrease like your serving sizes, because if you could really pay attention to your body and stop eating when you feel satisfied, rather than when we're eating mindlessly and we just keep eating and eating because we weren't even paying attention to whether or not we were hungry or full, it actually takes your body some time for the messages to go from your gut to your brain saying, okay, you're full. So the slower that you eat, the more quickly you'll feel that feeling of fullness. And you might realize, okay, I don't need those last few bites. Maybe you're already satisfied and you've had enough. So I think that would help there too.
Awesome. Well, I think this was a pretty good list for 21 health tips for 2021. We wanted to give you guys some actionable tips that, you can pick and choose from, find what resonates with you and implement it into your life. So you have lots to choose from. And so in closing out, we'll just kind of tell you guys a little bit where to find us. If you want to connect, we love hearing from you. If you have questions or comments, or you want us to cover something or anything like that. So my name is Leah Barrick, and I am accepting new nutrition clients. If you're interested in one-on-one counseling, you can find me at Grace Functional Nutrition is my website. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook at the handle Grace Functional Nutrition. And you can email me at gracefunctionalnutrition@gmail.com.
And my name is Stacy Seslowski. My company is called Heal From Food. So you could either email me at stacy@healfromfood or find me on social media, Heal From Food. It really doesn't get any more difficult than that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Stacy. It was great reconnecting.
Wow.
I'm excited for the rest of our podcast for this year.
Thank you. All right. Have a good week, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.